Today, Buddhist Applications will delve into a profound topic that is often overlooked: the power of silence in Buddhism. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and constant conversations, silence is a rare gem with transformative power. However, silence in Buddhism is not merely the absence of sound. It is a journey toward inner peace, self-awareness, and enlightenment. In this video, we'll explore the significance of silence from a Buddhist perspective. We'll uncover how embracing silence can elevate your life, cultivate wisdom, and help you connect more deeply with your inner self. Each of the 5 sections will reveal different aspects of silence: its role in self-reflection, its power in understanding others, the peace it brings amidst chaos, its link to mindfulness, and its essence in spiritual growth. If you're seeking to live a life that is more mindful, balanced, and rooted in Buddhist wisdom, then keep watching. By the end of this video, you'll understand how the practice of silence can lead to a more profound sense of inner harmony. So, take a moment to breathe, relax, and let's begin our exploration of the power of silence in Buddhism. And before we dive in, if you find our content valuable, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more wisdom-packed videos. Now, let's embark on this enlightening journey. Silence as self-reflection. Silence is a doorway to self-reflection. In Buddhism, silence serves as a powerful tool to help us understand our thoughts, emotions, and intentions. When we practice silence, we give ourselves the space to listen to our inner voices and observe our mental landscape without judgment. It's within this quiet introspection that true self-awareness begins to blossom. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, we are often caught in an endless stream of thoughts. Silence, however, provides an opportunity to step back and witness these thoughts objectively. The Buddha often taught that our mind is like a pond. When it is turbulent, we cannot see its depths clearly, but when it is still, we can see to the bottom. Similarly, silence calms the mental chatter, allowing us to see our true nature and gain insight into who we are. Through the practice of silence, we start to uncover patterns in our thinking and behavior. Are our thoughts driven by fear, anger, or desire? What are the stories we tell ourselves? In the stillness, we confront our inner struggles, fears, and hopes. This self-reflection is not about criticism, but about understanding. When we listen to our inner silence, we gain clarity, and with that clarity comes the power to transform our lives. In Buddhism, silence is seen as a sacred practice, often incorporated into meditation. By sitting in silence, we give ourselves the permission to simply be, not to react, not to judge, but just to observe. This observation helps us develop mindfulness, allowing us to understand the true nature of our thoughts and emotions. As we grow more mindful, we start to identify the root causes of our suffering and take steps towards letting them go. In essence, silence becomes a mirror that reflects our innermost being. Through this self-reflection, we gain wisdom and begin to live with greater intention. In the absence of words, we find the truth that often hides behind our endless chatter. The power of silence in understanding others. Silence is not just about understanding ourselves, it's also a powerful tool for understanding others. In Buddhist teachings, true compassion and empathy arise when we learn to listen deeply. And listening often involves more silence than speaking. When we are silent, we create space for others to express themselves fully, without interruption or judgment. In many conversations, we often find ourselves preparing our response while the other person is speaking, rather than truly listening. This habit creates a barrier to authentic communication. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that by embracing silence, we can become more present with others. In the stillness of silence, we become attuned to the unspoken emotions, thoughts, and needs of those around us. Silence also helps us develop metta, loving kindness. By choosing to listen rather than react, we show others that their words and feelings are valued. This act of deep listening fosters a sense of trust and connection, allowing relationships to flourish. When we listen in silence, we hear not just the words, but the feelings behind them, gaining a deeper understanding of the person speaking. Furthermore, silence can be a form of nonverbal communication. In moments of grief, joy, or uncertainty, words often fall short. A compassionate silence can provide comfort, show solidarity, and convey understanding more powerfully than any words could. It says, "I am here with you," without the need for explanations. In the context of conflict, silence can be particularly transformative. Instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, choosing silence gives us a moment to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. This mindful response can diffuse tension and open the door to more meaningful, constructive conversations. Thus, silence is not a sign of weakness or passivity. In fact, it is an expression of strength and empathy. Through the practice of silence, we cultivate patience, deepen our connections, and develop a more profound sense of compassion for others. Finding peace amidst chaos. The world we live in is chaotic, filled with noise, demands, and distractions. Buddhism teaches that silence is the path to finding inner peace amidst this external turmoil. By embracing silence, we retreat from the chaos and create a sanctuary within ourselves where tranquility resides. In Buddhist practice, silence is not just the absence of sound, but the presence of calmness. It is a state of being where we detach from the constant stimuli of the outside world and turn our focus inward. This inner focus allows us to recognize that peace is not something we need to seek outside. It is already within us, waiting to be uncovered through silence. The Buddha often retreated into silence to find clarity and peace. In the same way, we can use silence as a refuge, a space where we can let go of the worries, fears, and stressors that burden us. When we sit in silence, we slow down, and in that slowing down, we reconnect with the stillness of our inner being. This stillness becomes a source of strength, enabling us to face life's challenges with grace and composure. Moreover, silence helps us to distance ourselves from the reactive nature of the mind. In the midst of chaos, our minds are often in overdrive, jumping from one thought to another, overwhelmed by the noise. Silence offers a pause, a break from this constant reactivity. In that pause, we gain perspective. And with perspective comes peace. As we practice silence regularly, we develop the ability to remain calm and centered, even when the world around us is in disarray. This inner peace is not the result of external circumstances, but a state of mind that arises from within. Through the power of silence, we learn to carry this peace with us, no matter where we go or what situations we face. In this way, silence becomes our anchor, grounding us amidst the storm of life. It reminds us that no matter how turbulent the world outside may be, we always have a quiet, peaceful place within ourselves to return to. Silence as a path to mindfulness. Mindfulness is at the heart of Buddhist practice, and silence is one of the key pathways to achieving it. When we embrace silence, we naturally become more mindful, more aware of the present moment. In the absence of distractions, we can fully immerse ourselves in the here and now, experiencing life with a heightened sense of clarity. In our everyday lives, we are often consumed by a flurry of thoughts, worries, and plans. Silence helps us break free from this mental clutter. By sitting in silence, we bring our attention to the present moment, whether it's focusing on our breath, observing our surroundings, or simply being with our thoughts. This act of mindful awareness allows us to see things as they truly are, without the distortions of judgment or preconceived notions. Through silence, we also become more attuned to our physical sensations. We notice the rise and fall of our breath, the beating of our hearts, and the sensations in our bodies. This awareness helps us develop a deeper connection with ourselves and our environment. We begin to appreciate the beauty in simple things, the sound of leaves rustling, the warmth of the sun, or the stillness of the night. Silence also reveals the transient nature of our thoughts and emotions. In the quiet, we observe how thoughts come and go, how emotions rise and fall. We realize that nothing is permanent, that every experience is fleeting. This understanding is a cornerstone of mindfulness and a key teaching in Buddhism. It helps us cultivate a sense of detachment, freeing us from the grip of negative emotions and thoughts. When we practice silence mindfully, we create a space where we can just be, without the need to do, fix, or change anything. This acceptance of the present moment as it is, without striving or resisting, leads to a profound sense of peace. In essence, silence is the bridge to mindfulness. It brings us back to the simplicity of the present moment, where true happiness and contentment reside. Silence as a gateway to spiritual growth. Silence holds a sacred place in Buddhism as a gateway to spiritual growth and enlightenment. In the Buddhist tradition, silence is more than a practice. It is a state of being that transcends the noise of the mind and the world. It is within this sacred silence that we come face to face with the ultimate truth, the nature of our existence. The Buddha himself often emphasized the importance of silence in spiritual practice. He taught that in the stillness of silence, we can hear the whispers of our own soul and the truths of the universe. This is why silence is deeply integrated into Buddhist rituals, meditation, and monastic life. It is considered a path to enlightenment, where one can transcend the illusions of the ego and the material world. When we practice silence as a spiritual discipline, we start to peel away the layers of our false self, the identity that is built on desires, fears, and social conditioning. In the absence of external noise and internal chatter, we get closer to our true self, which is pure, boundless consciousness. This journey to the core of our being is at the heart of spiritual growth. Silence also nurtures our spiritual virtues, such as patience, humility, and compassion. As we embrace silence, we learn to accept things as they are, without the need to control or manipulate them. This acceptance fosters a deep sense of humility, reminding us of our interconnectedness with all life. From this space of humility, compassion naturally arises. We see ourselves in others, recognizing that their struggles and joys are no different from our own. Furthermore, silence brings us into harmony with the natural rhythms of the universe. In the stillness, we become aware of the oneness of all existence, the interconnected web of life. This awareness is the essence of spiritual awakening in Buddhism, the realization that we are not separate, but part of a greater whole. In this way, silence is not an end in itself, but a means to reach the deeper truths of life. It guides us toward a more profound spiritual understanding, where we live in alignment with the universal truths of compassion, wisdom, and inner peace. In Buddhism, silence is not just an absence of sound. It is a profound presence, a space where true wisdom, compassion, and peace take root. As we journey through life, the practice of silence becomes a bridge that connects us to our inner nature, grounding us amidst the ever-changing tides of existence. It is within the stillness of silence that we meet ourselves, free from the distractions and noise of the external world. In this quiet space, we begin to hear the subtle truths of our being and the universal teachings of Buddhism that guide us toward enlightenment. The power of silence lies in its simplicity and depth. When we embrace silence, we create a sanctuary within ourselves, a place where we can reflect on our thoughts without judgment and see our emotions for what they truly are: transient visitors passing through the mind. This practice of inner listening, rooted in mindfulness, allows us to become more aware of our patterns, more attuned to our intentions, and more compassionate toward our struggles. In silence, we find the courage to confront our fears, the wisdom to release our attachments, and the grace to accept the present moment as it is. Moreover, silence extends beyond our personal growth. It transforms the way we interact with the world. Through the practice of mindful silence, we become better listeners, more empathetic companions, and wiser beings. In conversations, our silence becomes a gift to others, a space where they can be heard and understood without interruption. This silent listening fosters deeper connections and cultivates a spirit of loving kindness, allowing us to engage with others in a way that is rooted in genuine presence and compassion. Silence also acts as our anchor in the storm of life. In times of chaos, when emotions run high and thoughts become scattered, it is silence that brings us back to our center. It reminds us that peace is not found in the external world, but within our own hearts. By practicing silence, we learn to navigate life's challenges with a calm mind and an open heart, responding with wisdom rather than reacting impulsively. This inner peace is a reflection of the Buddhist teaching that the true source of suffering lies not in the events themselves, but in our responses to them. As we walk the path of Buddhism, silence becomes our guide, leading us to deeper spiritual insights. It teaches us to be present, to listen, and to understand the interconnectedness of all things. It is in this quiet presence that we experience the beauty of life, not as a series of achievements or possessions, but as a continuous flow of moments to be fully lived. Through silence, we align ourselves with the natural rhythms of the universe, realizing that we are both a part of the whole and the whole itself. In this way, the power of silence is not just a practice but a way of being. It is a return to our true nature, a reminder that beneath the surface of our busy minds lies a wellspring of peace, clarity, and wisdom. By cultivating silence in our daily lives, we open the door to a more mindful, compassionate, and harmonious existence. So I invite you to embrace the power of silence. Begin with small moments, a quiet breath, a mindful pause, or a silent reflection. And gradually expand this practice into all aspects of your life. Let silence be your teacher, your refuge, and your guide. If you found this exploration of silence meaningful, I encourage you to support our journey together. Please like this video, subscribe to Phutphop Ingdung, and share it with those seeking inner peace and mindful living. Your engagement helps us bring more Buddhist wisdom to those in search of a deeper understanding of life. May the power of silence lead you toward greater mindfulness, compassion, and enlightenment. Thank you for being with us on this path.